Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make a Hemostat Mandala on the back of a lightweight zip-up hoodie. I purchased this hoodie from Amazon and I'll leave a link down below in the description for this video. The hoodie is 100% cotton and it says in the description that it's a textured jersey, but I didn't really notice the hoodie having a lot of texture to it, so I'm not sure what that's about. But it is pretty lightweight. I'm only going to put the mandala on the back side of the hoodie, so I need to go ahead and fold the back side of the hoodie in half. I've unzipped the hoodie so that it makes it a little bit easier to work with. Essentially, I'm centering the back side of the hoodie where I have a seam or a line that runs straight down the middle of the back side. It's taking a little bit of time to do this because I want to make sure that the area where I'm going to put the mandala is nice and flat and I don't have a lot of wrinkles in this area. Once I have this part smoothed out, I'm going to use a washable marker and place a mark where I would like for the center of my mandala to be. To make sure my center fold stays in place, I'm going to use some multi-purpose sewing clips, and I'll put a link for those down below as well, to hold the fold in place or to clip the fabric. Then I think it's easier to make more precise or cleaner folds if I use a ruler. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a ruler on my center point, then fold the bottom hem of this hoodie up, and then back down halfway, kind of like I'm starting to fold a paper airplane. Then I'm going to use some more of the clips to hold these folds in place. When I pinch the seam and lift the shirt up off of the table, it's going to fold the other side down. I'm going to make one more additional fold on each side of the shirt. I'm continuing to use the clips to hold all the folds in place. Once I have all my folds in place, I'm going to go ahead and take the clips off and apply the hemostats. I'm starting right at the very end with a straight pair of hemostats, and I'm placing them at an angle on the shirt or the hoodie. I'm going to place the hemostats on in pairs, and most of the hemostats that I'm using are either 10-inch or 12-inch. I'm going to apply one pair of hemostats on one side of the fold, kind of forming a V on the hoodie. Then I'm going to apply another pair of hemostats on the opposite side with the same pattern. I'm going to alternate adding the hemostats to the hoodie back and forth until I've applied hemostats to the entire area that I want to dye with the mandala. I'm basically making an Otten alien hemostat mandala. And this is a design that was developed or created by Patricia Otten. So I have the hemostat mandala part tied, but now I need to do something with the rest of the shirt, or the hoodie. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to keep calling it a shirt, but you know what I mean, it's a hoodie. Because this is kind of an unusual shape, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and unbunch the sleeves a little bit, and then just scrunch the rest of this and hold the folds in place with some rubber bands. Once I have the hoodie completely tied, I'm going to go ahead and place it on a rack and put it aside to allow it to dry out completely. I like to dye thicker folds like this when they're completely dry. I get better color saturation in the center of the mandala portion if it's not still damp when I begin applying the dye. If you'd like a little bit more information about this, I have a blog post out on my website which talks a little bit more about this topic, and I have a link to my website down below in the description for this video. So one of the fun things about doing these Otten alien designs is you can do a whole lot of colors or just a few colors. And I've decided to do a whole lot of colors on this one. I have all the colors laid out, but I'll give you the colors as I'm applying them on the shirt or the hoodie. The other thing about this design is I'm going to go ahead and incline it. So I've placed my hoodie on a metal rack. that I have down inside of a larger or longer tub. It's one that's intended to go underneath the bed. I have one end of this metal rack down inside of the tub, and I have the other end hanging over the edge. So that's inclining my hoodie. Then I'm going to use some silicone cake molds to kind of rig myself up some kind of an ice barrier. This sometimes gets a little interesting making ice barriers on these designs because they're very unusually shaped, and so I just make it work. One nice thing about these silicone cake molds is they're extremely moldable. So if you'll notice, I'm not really attaching them. I'm just sticking them up in between the hemostats and then using wooden clothespins to hold the silicone cake molds together to kind of keep them in place. For the scrunched portion, I'm attaching several of the silicone cake molds together, and then I'm going to hold them up close to the shirt by attaching some wooden clothespins to my metal rack. Here again, I'll put a link to the silicone cake molds down below in the description. I also have links to lots of other items that I use when I tie-dye down in this video description. Because the hoodie is completely dry, I've placed a little bit of soda ash solution inside of a plastic squirt bottle, and I'm going to lightly mist the top of the hoodie. That will help the dye stick to it just a little bit better. So when you're looking at the hoodie right now, I have one section down at the very end. In that section at the very end, I'm going to place Daffodil from Dharma Trading Company. Then you'll see 3 sections formed by the hemostats on the bottom and 2 sections formed from the hemostats on top. In the top sections, I'm going to use 2 different shades of pink. In the first section, I'm using Strawberry from Custom Colors, and in the second section, I'm going to use Chantilly Pink from Die Spin. On the 3 bottom sections, I'm going to use 3 different shades of blue. I'm using Ice Blue from Dharma Trading Company in the first section, Ice Dye Blue from Die Spin in the middle section, and Blue Linen from Die Spin in the last section. When I unfold this mandala, it's going to look almost like there are petals on the shirt, formed from the hemostats. So the way I'm applying the dye, I'm going to have 1 row of blue petals, then a row of pink, a row of blue, and so on. Now, if you're looking at the shirt again, you'll see that there are spaces in between all the hemostats. In the spaces kind of going from the lower left-hand corner up to the upper right-hand corner, those areas, I'm going to apply some kind of pinky colors. I'm starting with Plum Blossom from Dharma Trading Company in the first section. The second section, I'm going to use Mulberry from Pro Chemical and Dye. And in the last section, I'm going to use Dusty Pink from Custom Colors. Then in all the sections that are going the other direction, from the left-hand upper corner to the right-hand lower corner, I'm going to apply purple type colors. I'm using Hydrangea from Dharma Trading Company and one of Dharma's special order colors called Elven Lily. You probably can't purchase that from Dharma anymore without buying a large quantity of it, but down below in the description for this video, I have a link to a Facebook group called Tie-Dye Supplies Marketplace. They generally sell the special order colors in smaller quantities out there. Then I'm also going to apply Lilac from Dharma and Lavender Fields from Die Spin. Then for the scrunch portion of the shirt, I'm going to sprinkle some Plum from Dharma Trading Company and Royal Purple from Die Spin over that area. I'm going to add a little bit of dry soda ash to the entire shirt, and then I'm going to add on the ice. My ice has been sitting in my freezer for a little while, so it's kind of larger chunks. I tried to break it up, but it didn't break up very easily, so I'm just using what I have. After I get all the ice on the shirt, I'm going to go ahead and add some more Plum and Royal Purple over the scrunch portion. I want there to be a little bit of variation in this part of the shirt, a little bit more vivid purple and then a little bit more watercolor. Let's see how that works. Then I'm going to place the shirt aside and allow the ice to melt. Once the ice melted, I came back and there was just a little bit of undissolved dye left sitting on top, so I added another light layer of ice. After that layer of ice melted, I left the hoodie to process for about 48 hours before I began rinsing it. To rinse the hoodie, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I took off the hemostats and warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. Instead of rinsing in hot water for a long time, I soaked the hoodie by adding really hot water to my utility sink, along with a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent. When the water cooled off, I changed it out and I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I put the hoodie along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent into my washing machine and I washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so the hoodie's been washed and dried and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? This is the front, so it's just some pretty purple, but when you turn it around to the back, that's when you see the cool mandala design. So I really love the purples and I love the colors that I used in the mandala. I like that bright pop of yellow right in the middle. And when you incline it, like this shirt or hoodie was inclined, those colors kind of flow down out to the outer regions of that mandala, which I think is a cool effect. So it almost looks like sun rays or something coming from the center. The only color that's a little bit disappointing to me was the ice blue from Dharma. That's the first little section that you see of hemostats going around the yellow, and that color is so faint it almost disappeared. You can kind of see a blue hint, but it's not a very vivid blue. I wanted a little bit of lighter blue in that section, just kind of as a contrast to the darker colors, but that one was a little lighter than I was expecting. So I think one of the fun things about this Otten alien design is you can, number one, use straight or curved hemostats. I use straight on this hoodie. But the other thing is I've never really seen a bad color combination. The design has so many different areas and you can use such a variety of colors. I've never seen a bad combination. I think they all end up looking really cool. I've seen quite a variety of colors put together too, ones that I wouldn't consider that really would look good together. So I think if you're wanting to really experiment using some wacky color combos, this is a great design to do that with. I didn't really use wacky color combinations on this one, but I think you could. So these hoodies are trimmed with polyester thread, so you see the white thread in the hoodie, but the zipper is also a white zipper, so those really stand out. I don't know if I can see a huge difference between adding the dye under the ice and then going ahead and adding more on top, but I do see quite a bit of variation in those two purples on the main bulk of the hoodie, like the front and the sleeves. There are softer portions and there are more vivid portions, which is kind of what I was going for. I wanted there to be a little bit of design in that part of the hoodie, it not to just be one solid color. So overall, I really like this hoodie. I think this mandala design is a great design to put on the back. When you're walking towards somebody, they just see the fun tie-dye on the front, and then when you turn around, they get to see the cool design on the back. But what do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know how you feel about it. And if you've enjoyed watching the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it, and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.